I think one of the things that can prevent us from our call to welcome the stranger, the immigrant or the refugee, is fear that perhaps immigrants are bringing crime or are people who we should be fearful of. And I think that there are a lot of myths that people attach to those fears. I think that people are afraid that we're not sure who these people are who are coming to our country, or that these are people who are more likely to commit crimes, that somehow it would be safer if we didn't allow immigrants and refugees to come. Which I think would make sense, except the statistics and the data, they show us the opposite story. So when people say things like, well, we just don't know who these people are, I think it's important that we remember the United States has the most robust screening process of any country in the world when it comes to refugee admissions. So we don't just allow anyone to come to this country, but the process is long. It can take an average of 2 years. It involves a lot of really specialized information and people who have very specialized questions that they're asking. 5 federal agencies are involved in making sure that we know exactly who a refugee is before they're admitted to the United States. It's less than 1% of the world's refugees who will ever be resettled into a new country that they can call home. And that's not just the United States, that's any country in the whole world. So that means there are a lot of people who are waiting for good news that they have been given a new place to call home. So if during the process the United States has any questions that they can't answer about what a refugee's background might be or who they might be, they simply just stop the process and they take the next file, because there are so many people who are desperate to start their life again. We have such a good refugee resettlement screening process that there's virtually no examples of a refugee who has come to the United States and who actually was a terrorist. In fact, the Cato Institute tells us that your chances of being killed in a terrorist attack by someone who came to this country as a refugee is 1 in 3.64 billion. I think that when we attach policy to a problem that doesn't exist, that's problematic, and that's something that Christians especially should be vocal about resisting. Another thing that I often hear people concerned about is that immigrants who come to this country are more likely to commit crimes. And that's a myth that has existed in this country for more than 100 years, and it's never been true. The statistics actually tell us that people who were born somewhere else and who come to the United States are less likely to commit crimes than people who were born here. Now, there are immigrants who commit crimes. We're talking about people, of course. But statistically speaking, an immigrant neighborhood is a safer neighborhood. A community that has a lot of immigrants is a community that has less crime. So immigrants actually bring more safe communities than they bring danger to our communities. It's important as Christians that we tell the truth. We know that truth is a value that we all share. And when we are creating policies in this country that are based on myths instead of facts, and when we are impacting real people's lives because we're telling each other untruths, and the statistics and the facts tell us something different, it's something that I believe Christians committed to truth should be deeply concerned about. We need to have policies that reflect truth. The Refugee and Immigration Collaborative, connecting global neighbors. This collaborative was brought together with support from Calvin College, the Calvin Alumni Association, and the Center for Christian Scholarship.